Hi kids. Since we're learning about fractions, I thought it'd be fun to bake. So we're going to make chocolate chip cookies. I'll show you all the things you need, and then you can pause the video and get those. And then as you go, you can just keep pausing the video each time you need to stop and do something, and then turn it back on and keep going. So these are the things you're going to need for making cookies. First thing first, turn on your oven to bake. And the temperature should be 375 degrees. So, bake 375. Make sure before you do this that you ask your parents. Nobody should be cooking unless you already have parent permission, okay? All right, so here's the ingredients you're going to need. 2 eggs. 2 eggs. I'm going to tip this so you can see. Maybe not. No, I'll just keep it untipped. I thought I'd tip it so you could see the counter better, but no. 2 eggs, 2 sticks of butter. When we make, I'll tell you about that later, but 2 sticks of butter. You need sugar, brown sugar, and when I bake, I use light brown sugar. I'll show you what it looks like. There's light brown sugar and there's really dark brown sugar. This is light brown sugar. The dark brown sugar is a much browner color. This tastes better in these kind of cookies. So you need regular sugar and light brown sugar. You need flour. That's in this one. You need salt. Oh, it's backwards. Salt. You also need vanilla and baking soda, okay? And then, of course, you need chocolate chips. 1 bag of semi-sweet chocolate chips. All right, got all of those things? Now you're going to need some measuring cups. And a 1 teaspoon measuring spoon. If you look on there, it says 1 TSP. TSP is teaspoon. If it says TBSP, that's tablespoon. That's too much. 1 teaspoon. Okay? So look at your spoon. It should be marked and say 1 TSP or 1 TBSP. If it's got the B in it, it's too big. Okay? Then you'll need some measuring cups like this. You'll need a 1 cup measuring cup. Mine says 1 cup on there. And then you'll need a 1/4 of a cup measuring cup. And mine says 1/4 on there. So you need those 2. The other ones you don't need. So we'll put those over there. And then you need a mixing bowl and a fork or a large spoon or something to stir with. So let me get those. Okay, first things first. We're going to start with the sugar, the 2 kinds of sugar. So we'll start with brown sugar. And I don't know if you know this, but when you scoop up brown sugar, you have to pack it down. And I always pack it down like this. Let me tip this. With the measuring cup inside the bag, and then I pack it down like this. So I'm not touching the sugar. And then when it comes out, it's packed into the measuring cup like that. And when you dump it in it looks like a little mini sandcastle. Brown sugar has to be packed down like that. Regular sugar does not have to be packed down like that. All right, this is 1/4 of a cup, which means that if I took an entire cup full of sugar and divided it into 4 even parts, each part would be 1/4. That's this one. Because I have 4 altogether make a whole. 4 of these altogether make a whole one of these. I need, for this recipe, 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar. I just put in 1. I need 3/4 altogether. So I'm going to go again and pack that down so it's nice and smooth. Dump that in my bowl. That's 2/4. 1/4, then 2/4, now 3/4. So I've got my 3/4 little brown sugar castles. I can put that away because that's all we need that for. Next I need the regular sugar. And for the regular sugar, you don't have to pack it down, but you also need 3/4 of a cup. So here's my 1/4 cup. I fill it with sugar, like that. That's 1/4 cup. 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. So I've got 3/4 of light brown sugar and 3/4 of a cup of regular white sugar. Okay, that's all you need to do with those two sugars. You won't need those anymore for this recipe. So you can set those aside. Now this is what it looks like in my bowl. The white sugar is kind of covering up my little brown sugar sandcastles. So I'm going to mix those together so that they make kind of a light brown sugar, but I don't want any chunks like that anymore. I'm going to stir it so it's all powdery. You kind of have to smash down those castle chunks with your fork. So now all my castle chunks are smashed down, but it's not really mixed together. So I'm going to blend it so that it's all one color and not two different colors like that. Stir, 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 stir. Maybe we'll have a Mrs. Pig's class cooking show from now on. If you know how to make something really good, you could make a video, send it to me, and we can post that too, and other people can try that. Alright, so now we've got 3/4 of light brown sugar and 3/4 of regular sugar mixed together. So now it's just kind of one light color of sugar. Into this we're going to add the 2 sticks of butter. I like the butter to be melted because it makes the cookies come out like wafers, not like the cookies you buy at the store that are real thick. Kind of like the cookies that you've had at school that I made for you sometimes. So you open the butter. And you're going to put it into a bowl that you can put in the microwave. So I put 1 stick in, then I open the other stick. 2 sticks. Each stick is 1/2 of a cup. This stick of butter counts as 1/2 of a cup. So if I have 2 of these, 1/2 plus 1/2 makes 2 halves, and 2 halves is the same as 1 whole. All right, I'm going to put those in my microwave for 1 minute because that'll make them very melty. And while I'm waiting for those to melt, I'm going to take my 2 eggs and crack those into the sugar. And mix them in really well before I put the butter in. Okay, so I've got my 2 eggs cracked into the sugar. See those eggs in there? Can you see them? Kinda. Okay, I'm going to smash those egg yolks up, the big orangey yellow parts. First smash them with your fork, then stir them into your sugar till it's all blended and kind of a bluey pasty brown now. Then I'll add the butter after I get this all blended. You can hear the butter melting in my microwave. Okay, so once I've added the eggs and stirred it all in the sugar, it looks like that. And now I'll add the butter. So my butter is all melty. See that? Not completely melted, but mostly. And I'm going to dump that into the sugar so that now I can blend the butter and the sugar and the eggs, and it'll come out to a kind of a thick and creamy dough. And once I do that, it'll be time to add the baking soda. Baking soda helps, causes a chemical reaction when it's cooking, and it helps it to kind of rise. These cookies will end up being kind of thin and chewy, and still chewy, but thinner than most chocolate chip cookies that you buy in the store. You kind of have to really mix this for a while because butter is kind of an oily thing. It takes a while to mix into the rest of the dough. I forgot to say before we started, but you should absolutely do this every time, but especially now that we've got the coronavirus and any other viruses floating around, like the flu, or even just regular old colds. It's very important before you start cooking to wash your hands really well. Really well. As a matter of fact, that makes me think of a funny video I'm going to post about washing your hands. I'll put that on our website for next week. I'm just going to clean up the crumbs I've got around here. Okay, so now that I've mixed in my butter and my eggs and my sugar, it looks like this, and it's kind of runny. Light bound runny batter. Batter is a better word than dough, because batter is a little runnier than dough. Okay, now I'm going to put in my baking soda and my salt and my vanilla. 1 teaspoon of each. You start with the dry. So I'll take my 1 teaspoon and scoop up 1 teaspoon worth of baking soda. It looks like that, so that it's flat across the top, not mounded, flat across the top. And just kind of sprinkle that in all around the dough. Okay? You're going to do the same thing with the salt. Going to fill up 1 teaspoon, again to the rim, but not mounded. And same thing, I'm going to sprinkle that all over my batter. And then the last thing I'm going to put in is the vanilla. 1 teaspoon. Carefully pour it in slowly so it doesn't overflow. Sometimes if you get too much vanilla, it can give the food kind of a bitter taste. 1 teaspoon is perfect, even 2 teaspoons, but be careful not to overflow it because it'll change the flavor of the cookies. And then I'm going to just kind of spill that into my cookie batter. All right, and then take your fork and start stirring, blending all those in so that you can't see them anymore. Stir, stir, stir. With some recipes, you're not supposed to over-stir, like cake batter and things like that. Cookie batter, it doesn't matter. You can stir till you're really sure it's all mixed. Okay? All right. Now I've got that all stirred, and again, it's just that runny batter, but now it's got all the last few ingredients in it other than the flour. The flour, once again, we're going to use our 1/4 cup, but we're also going to use our 1 whole cup. 4 of these make 1 of these. 1/4 makes 4 of 1/4. 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4 makes 1 whole cup. Whenever you're doing fractions, if the bottom number and the top number are the same, like 4/4, it means 1 whole. So if you had 5/5, that means 1 whole. If you have 2/2, that means 1 whole. Whatever it is, when there's the same number on the top and the bottom, it means 1 whole. All right, time for the flour. So, for the flour we need 2 1/4 cups. 2 whole cups and 1/4 of a cup. But I don't want to put all of that in at once because it's kind of hard to stir in. So let's just do a little bit at a time. We'll start with the 1/4 cup. Fill it to the top, but not mound it over, just flat across the top. And then we'll just pour that in our bowl. And then let's take 1 whole cup of flour. Same thing as with the 1/4 cup. Kind of shake it around so that you have 1 cup straight across the top but not mounded. And you don't want to pack the flour in, just fill it in without packing it down. Like in the brown sugar we packed down, the white sugar we didn't. You don't want to pack down the flour either. Okay, now that, I'm keeping my 1 cup out because we still need 1 more cup. But I'm going to stir this flour in first, and then I'll add the rest. This is one of my kids' favorite things I make. I don't make very many things well. I do make good chocolate chip cookies, and they love them. As a matter of fact, Jack constantly asks me when he's at a place where he's settled and going to stay, some base, he asks me to send him cookies. And cookies mail really well. You can package them up. You have to remember to put a slice of bread in the Ziploc baggie with the cookies. And then when he gets the cookies, he'll throw the bread away. But the bread is in the Ziploc baggie because it helps keep the cookies fresh. I don't know why, but it does. Okay, last, I already put in 1 1/4 cups. I have 1 more cup of flour filled to the top, but not mounded. 1 more cup. So that makes a total of 2 1/4 cups of flour. Now I gotta stir that in, and it's getting lots thicker now. You have to stir kind of slow, because if you just start stirring like a madman, you're gonna have flour all over the place. It'll spill out and make a mess. So stir slow, and it'll slowly start getting incorporated. Incorporated means mixed in with the rest of it. Stir, stir, stir. Now we're down to the last part. And something I figured out, which our kids like me to do once in a while, mostly they like me to use the semi-sweet chocolate chips and make just traditional chocolate chip cookies. That's their favorite. But every once in a while, I'm going to move the flour. Every once in a while, they like me to put something else in instead of chocolate chips. So something you could do, depends on what kind of things you like, you could add walnuts. Little crushed walnuts, not whole walnuts, that'd be awful. Little crushed pieces of walnuts in with the chocolate chips. Or Mr. Pape likes me to put in butterscotch chips instead of chocolate chips. That's one of his favorite kinds. At Christmas time, I put in white chocolate chips and peppermint chips and make them that way. So that's good too. But today we're putting in just your basic chocolate chips. And you need the whole bag. It's a 12-ounce bag. I think you can buy gigantic bags. But if you do, only 12 ounces. Weigh it out. But this bag is just a 12-ounce bag. Okay, so I dumped those all into my batter. Oh my gosh, they smell good. Stir it up so that they are mixed all the way through. You don't want to have cookies that don't get any chocolate chips in them. People getting skunked because they didn't get any chocolate chips in their cookie. Mix it around so that all the chocolate chips are all throughout the dough, like that. All right? I'm going to pause this because I need to get a couple more things out of the cupboard, and then I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. And the things I got out were a cookie tray. And I got something out called parchment paper. It looks kind of like the containers that you get aluminum foil in, but it's parchment paper. And I use this because the cookies don't stick to the sheet, the cookie sheet. And yeah, end up with a mess. It looks like regular paper. My paper has little squares on it. And you can put the cookie dough in blobs very evenly across, evenly spaced on your paper. So I just lay them down on top of my cookie sheet. And I also got a big spoon like this. Not a spoon that you would use to eat with. This is a big tablespoon, or I don't know what this is. It's a big spoon. And you will scoop about that much and put that down on your cookie tray. Not a whole spoonful, maybe like that much. Put that down on your cookie tray. And usually when I do it, I make, depends on how big your cookie tray is, I guess. I usually make 5 rows across, 4 up and down. So 5 times 4 would be 20 cookies at a time. Scooping it up. Oops, this one's only going to be 4 rows across, 4 up and down. So how many cookies would that be? 4 across, 4 up and down. 16. 4 times 4. Almost done. 3 more. 2 more. And last one. Okay. So this is what my cookie sheet looks like before I put it in the oven. Okay? And then when you put this in the oven, I set my oven for 9 minutes. So if I was you, I'd set your oven for 9 minutes too, and then when the 9-minute timer goes off, take a look at them and see if they look like they're done, take them out. I don't cook mine until they're all the way brown, because then they're crunchy, and my kids like them soft and chewy. So again, if you like crunchy, crisp cookies, you might want to cook them for a little bit longer, but start with 9 minutes and then go from there. Add a minute at a time. And look at them after each minute to decide when they're as done as you like them. And I'm going to pause this while we wait for our cookies to be done. Okie dokie, I think the cookies are done. So I'm going to show you what they look like when I take them out, and then let them cool and you can eat them. Or you can eat them hot, which is my favorite way to eat cookies. So hold on just a second, let's get those cookies out. Okay, this is what they look like. Some of them are lighter in color. I like them that way. And these are also a little bit thicker. These turned out kind of thin, but they're still all very yummy. My kids like these thin ones because they're like wafers. I like these that are a little thicker and chewier. So I'm going to let those cool over there on the counter. And when they're done, I'm going to eat cookies and take some to Mr. Babe for work. I hope you had fun. I hope you made some cookies. And I hope if you did, you asked your parents first. Have a good rest of your day. Be kind to your families. Help out whenever you can. This stay-home school is hard on everyone. So be good, be helpful, work hard, and make sure you get outside every day. Miss you all. Hope you like the cookies. Bye-bye.